my name is Camila Martinez and my major is architecture. The title of my article is Life and Death in the Racial State, Col- Collateral Consequences and Execution of Troy Davis. Researchers are Joshua Inwood and Melanie Barron from the Department of Geography and African Studies program at the University of Tennessee. So, a brief summary of my article is that U.S. justice system privilege nature and white supremacist foundations are exposed through the execution of Troy Davis in 2011. This highlights the inhumanity of the system and how capital punishment is co-constitutive with capital relations in the law. The execution of Davis highlights the self-perpetuating nature of racial racialization processes, exposing how the U.S. justice system has biased many cases towards different individuals based on appearances and backgrounds. So, some of the methods used throughout this article were a comparison of a list of capital crimes in which African Americans seem to be convicted more often than white Americans. The article also shows a correlation between capital punishment in the U.S. and the foundation of slavery in historical events, mainly in historical events of the southern states. The impact of the contribution to the transformation of the death penalty and the understanding of it. The article also describes the description of the common reasons why someone was wrongly convicted and informats that contributed to the case of Troy Davis. And lastly, it also gives evidence of a strong correlation between states that allow slavery and states that continue with the practice of execution of prisoners. And this is once again also very much related to southern states. To continue, some of the top discussions of this article were the difference in which the North handled capital cases differently than the U.S. South in the revolutionary years and how it has a great impact on today's system. Today's system being the justice system in America. The second discussion is that the main thing that seems to connect history of the death penalty with racial states is the way capital punishment is co-constructive with capital relations and law. The third is racism is linked to and constructs the cultural, political, social, and economic organizations of society, which leads to the acceptance with or without knowledge of the U.S. justice system remaining unresponsive to inequalities and racial biases. And lastly, the case of Troy Davis is an example of how much a case can be used as a foundation for the justice system to create an opportunity to benefit them in a way. And because of this, a history of racial bias can be used as the main factor to maintain such reasonings. So some of the objectives that are explained throughout this article are it's the explanation of the connection to contemporary understandings of racism and how racial racialization processes become self-perpetuating systems that impact all facets of life. The second is the focus on the case is to illustrate the inhumanity of the U.S. justice system and the continuation of inequality around the nation. They also focused on bringing examples of common reasons a person was wrongly convicted and how organizations such as the Innocent Project bring out evidence to defend the defendants from untruthful witnesses. And lastly, they show how prison grows and the need to expand our focus to to investigations to understand the death penalty in the U.S. and expose racial and ethnic groups and the target they face throughout the U.S. justice system. So, In conclusion, the conclusion of the article is that Troy Davis's execution acts as a turning point for the movement against the death penalty in the United States by drawing attention to the injustice in the legal system brought by racism, financial constraints, and political demands. Davis' case should act as an indication that death row is a reflection of a corrupt and unethical legal system that values profit over people. The research focuses on geography with a particular focus of the development of space and the effects of execution in various racial groups as well. So over here in results, there is a couple images which can be seen of Troy Davis execution date, and over here it shows also the percentage of innocent project cases that reflect on the desperation impact of wrongful convictions on Black people in the US, which 58% being Black, 34% being white, and 7% being Latinx. This, if you continue reading throughout this, um, it gives a history of the impact and the death row has on Black Americans. The second one shows a exoneration that teaches the most common causes of wrongful convictions. 64 being involved with eyewitnesses misidentification, 27 being involved false confessions, 52 being involved misapplied for seeking science, and 80% being involved informants. And here are my references. Thank you.